come back to school because they had had the experience that people over my age or older were unable to complete the program, and so they really advised me not to do that. And but I looked at it as in a different way. The person that was advising me was very wise. She said, "I think you could make up for some of your what has happened in nursing and nursing education by taking some master's level courses that have been developed in the meantime."
Yes.
And so I did that.
Awesome.
And ultimately, that was a big help. So I'm saying to myself, this wasn't really ageism at all.
Mm-hmm.
They were being realistic about the situation that I was in.
Okay.
You know, so I didn't. When they first told me that, most people your age that enroll never are able to complete the program.
Yeah.
I felt like they were discriminating me on the basis of age. But after my experience later on, I decided that was not the reason they advised me against enrolling.
Okay.
So I think we need to look at, what the situation is when we're talking about aging.
I think we definitely do. That's a great example. Thank you. Anyone else have a ageism story they'd like to share, or a quasi-ageism story they'd like? Yes.
I don't know that mistreated would be the word for me to use, but children
Mm-hmm.
that I used to be with occasionally and see now are not nearly so free to communicate with me and,
Yeah.
have fun
Yeah.
as they were several years ago.
That's a big thing. I've done some surveys with a group with a lot of people who are residents in Holly Creek or Johnson Center, and one of the things they always talk about is the younger kids don't have an interest in connecting with people that are older, and it seems like I think that's sort of like a widespread feeling that a lot of people in this population here have, and I'm guessing that's sort of spread throughout the larger community. So we do really have to find a way to connect younger people with people who have had more experience, and that's one way that we can sort of combat the ageism dynamic in society. Anyone else? Okay, thank you for sharing. Now, when we talk about 4 types of ageism, it leads to ageism stereotypes, and I'm going to discuss a few of them here. One of the stereotypes is physical health. Now, there's a perception that because you get older, then your physical health is really, really going to decline. That is the perception. The common idioms for physical health stereotypes are over the hill and past their prime. Now, I watch a lot of sports, and I'm in my 30s, 30-something, that's what I am. And I watch football and I watch basketball, and guys are like 30-something. And they always say these guys that play basketball who are over 30 are over the hill or they're past their prime. And that sort of offends me. And but that's a physical stereotype that pertains to me with regard to sports, and I'm sure that some of you have had that type of stereotype as well. Now, when you're talking about a physical stereotype for people that are older, that really affects health services treatment, because a lot of times even our doctors and our nurses, they have these sort of ageist tendencies. So if a person who is a little bit older comes into a doctor's office and complains about a pain, or complains about maybe being tired, or complains about being some sort of ailment, the doctor or the nurse who has an ageist tendency is probably going to say, well, it's just because you're getting older, you're getting older, so that's why you're going to feel that way. But the doctor or the nurse who dismisses a person because of that stereotype might be missing an ailment that is really specific to that individual patient. So if a person comes in and they're complaining of something, and the doctor or the nurse dismisses you because, well, that's just because of your age, what if that person who comes to see that doctor or that nurse is really experiencing something? So that really affects health services treatment, and we really have to root out that ageism stereotypes in our medical community so people can be treated the correct way. Okay, another stereotype is sexuality. Now, there's a big stereotype out there that says that because you're getting older, then you shouldn't be wanting of intimacy. And that's so, not true. Everybody deserves intimacy despite their age, whether you're 18 or 95, it doesn't matter. Everybody wants and deserves and needs that sometimes. So, now this stereotype infers that older people are wrong to seek intimacy, that older people are too physically weak for intimacy, older people are physically unattractive, and you should be ashamed of yourself for wanting intimacy because you eclipse a certain threshold. And we shouldn't, in our society, hold that type of stereotype against people because they're older, because everyone, like I said, deserves that intimacy, needs intimacy. People like to hold hands and kiss, and I mean, that shouldn't be a function of younger people. It should be a function of everyone. Stereotyping imposes a general ability. Now, the common idiom for this stereotype is that you are ready for the scrap heap, or, bless your heart, which is sort of condescending, very, very condescending. So say the bless your heart is people are trying to be very supportive, but in all, they're really putting you down and they don't know. That's that unconscious ageism thing coming. So basically, if you want to climb a mountain and you're 70 years old, the person will say bless your heart, and that's just, they're just saying, well, it's sort of like a condescending thing. This contributes to institutional ageism a lot, and usually cognitive decline is associated with aging, and the stereotype is that older people become more docile and mentally feeble, when in all actuality, physical and cognitive decline should be attributed to health, and not age. Like for me, I'm 30, okay, I'll say it, I'm 35. And I've noticed that, I become healthier and I become a lot smarter that I've aged, being 19 and being 35. And I think a lot of that has to do with just